everyone, it's Sarah. Welcome to my crochet channel. Today's video I'm going to show you how to crochet our country heart Christmas ornament. Now this is our third country style pattern, and of course just by changing the yarns and the details you can make a different styled heart. The first one that we did was the country star. And then we also did a country Christmas tree ornament. And so today's is our third out of our 6 different country patterns. We also have a country angel that we're going to be doing, a country table runner, and a country doily. And of course, you don't have to use a country cotton yarn. You can use any yarn that you want to in any colors. And we'll talk more about yarns when we get a little farther on in the video. Now you can find this crochet pattern along with the other links for the other patterns that we've done so far down in the notes underneath this video. To make your country heart Christmas ornament, you're going to need about an ounce of a medium weight number 4 yarn. I'm going to be using this sugar and cream, which is what this is made out of. It's cotton. It's called Holiday Stripes. You can see it's got some red and some green and some off-white that gives it that country look. This one is made with acrylic yarn. It's just some red heart that I had on hand, and it's white with some different colored flecks in it. You'll also need a button of choice. You'll just need one that we're putting right in the center of the heart on this one. You can use wooden buttons. I'm going to be using this one that's a kind of an antique heart on our demonstration today. Now, if you're going to sew your button on, make sure your needle can get through the shank or the holes of your button. But if not, like these wooden buttons, you can use a hot glue or this glue. I really like this. It's an E6000. It takes a couple seconds longer to dry, but it always holds really well. And with the hot glue, if you're going to be using these outside or in really cold weather, the hot glue gets hard and cracks, so be careful of that. You're going to need a piece of ribbon. I've used this ribbon on this one and this cute ribbon here on this one. I got this one with the packages on it from the Dollar Tree, and it's a beautiful satin ribbon. The last thing you're going to need is, of course, your crochet hook, and we're using an H today. It's a 5.0 millimeter crochet hook. All right. So gather up those supplies and we'll get our country heart Christmas ornament stitched up. We're going to begin with our slip knot. We're going to chain 5. We're going to join this chain 5 into a circle. So I'll put the tail of yarn over the hook and pull it through. And then we'll just snug that down and tie that little stay knot. Now, if you prefer to use the magic circle at the beginning, you certainly can. All right, now we're going to put our hook in, pull up a loop, yarn over, and chain 3. This chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. You'll also notice that I'm stitching over my tail of yarn. We're going to stitch 2 more double crochets, yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, and go through the second 2 loops. And we'll do that again. And chain 2. Now we're going to stitch 3 more sets of 3 double crochets, chain 2. There's another one. Now we need 2 more sets. Chain 2 and 1 more set of 3 double crochets, chain 2. 1, 2 and 3, chain 2, and then I'll join to the top of that chain 3 with a slip stitch. All right, now I'm going to slip stitch in the next 2 double crochets. Then I'll slip stitch in the chain 1 space and chain 3. And so for row 1, we have 4 sets of 3 double crochets, chain 2 in between, we joined to our chain 3, we slip stitched to the next chain 2 space and chained 3. All right, so now what we're going to do for row 2, our chain 3 here counts as our first double crochet. We're going to double crochet 2 more times, chain 2, and then 3 more double crochets in this chain 2 space. And chain 2. Now we'll go to the next chain 2 space and stitch 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3, chain 2, and 3 double crochets in the same chain 2 space. 1, 2, and 3. And chain 2. And then we'll repeat that on these other 2 chain 2 spaces. Three double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets in the same chain 2 space. And chain 2. Now we'll do our last one. We'll try that again. There we go. Sometimes this cotton yarn can be a little splitty, so we got to watch that so it doesn't happen. All right, there's my 3, chain 2 and 3, chain 2. We're going to join to that chain 3 with a slip stitch. Then we'll slip stitch in the next 2 stitches, slip stitch in the chain 2 space. Only this time we're just going to chain 1. And this is how row 2 should look. It basically looks like a regular granny square at this point. The next row is where we shape that heart. Now at the end of row 2, we only chained 1 and not chained 3. So we're going to go right in this chain 2 space and stitch a single crochet. Now we're going to come to the next chain 2 space here on the side. We're going to stitch 2 double crochets. 1, 2. We're going to stitch 4 triples. So we'll put 2 wraps on our hook. We'll go in, pull up a loop. You'll have 4 loops instead of the normal 3 we do for a double crochet. Yarn over, go through the first 2. Yarn over, go through the second 2. Yarn over and go through the third 2. So there's 1. We need to stitch 3 more, so we have a total of 4 triples. So we have 2 double crochets and 1, 2, 3, 4 triples. Now we're going to stitch 2 double crochets again in this same space. 1 and 2. And that forms our first hump or bump of our heart. All right, now we're going to single crochet in the next chain 2 space, which is the corner. And then we'll come to the next chain 2 space and we'll stitch exactly what we did here in this next chain 2 space. So 2 double crochets, 4 triples, 1, 2, 3, and 4. 2 double crochets, 4 triples. Now we'll stitch 2 more double crochets in this same chain 2 space. So you can see we're beginning to form the little bumps of our heart. Now we're going to go to the next chain 2 space and single crochet. All right, so I want you to just see how that looks. We single crocheted, 2 double crochets, 4 triples, and 2 double crochets. Then we single crocheted in the next chain 2 space, and then we stitched 2 doubles, 4 triples, and 2 doubles, and then we single crocheted in the next chain 2 space. Now we're going to work down the side of our heart till we reach the point. We're going to stitch a single crochet in these next 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Now we'll stitch 2 single crochets in the chain 2 space. 1 and 2. Now we're going to stitch a single crochet in these next 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. This brings us to the point. We're going to stitch 2 single crochets. 1, 2. We're going to chain 1 and then stitch 2 more single crochets. 1 and 2. And see how that forms the point of our heart? We formed the point of our heart, and now we're going to work up this side the same way we work down this way. So we'll stitch 1 single crochet in those next 3 double crochets. We'll stitch 2 single crochets in the chain 2 space. 1 and 2. Then we'll stitch 1 single crochet in these next 3 double crochets. And this is where we formed those slip stitches. So we're stitching right in those slip stitches instead of the double crochets. All right, now we're going to join to this first single crochet with a slip stitch and chain 1. All right, so let's look at our heart. We formed our bumps, and then we stitched down to the point, formed our point, and then stitched back up. So our heart looks just a little bit messy, and we want to make it look nice and neat. So what we're going to do is we're going to single crochet in the next 2 double crochets. We're going to place 2 single crochets in those 4 triples, and that's going to help round out the corner or the bumps, not corners, of our heart bumps. So 2 single crochets in those 4 triple stitches. And see how nice and rounded out that becomes? All right, so now we're going to stitch a single crochet in those 2 double crochets. We'll stitch a single crochet in the single crochet. Then we'll stitch a single crochet in the 2 double crochets. And then again, we're going to stitch 2 single crochets in each of those 4 triple stitches. So there's 2, 2, 2, there we go, and 2, 1 and 2. Now we're going to stitch 1 single crochet in the 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. See how that lays so much neater and crisper now? By adding those 2 single crochets in each of those 4 triples, we get a much smoother appearance for the top of our heart. Now we're just going to single crochet down the side till we reach that point. 1 single crochet in each of those stitches. When you get to the point of your heart, in that chain 1 space, you're going to stitch a single crochet, a chain 1, and a single crochet in that chain 1 space. And that's just going to help the point of the heart just be a little bit more pointed. And now we'll just single crochet up the side till we reach back up where we started on this row. 1 single crochet in each of those single crochet stitches. All right, one more. And now we're going to join to that first single crochet with a slip stitch. We'll cut our yarn. And we'll go to the next stitch and pull that loop to the back. And now we have a little bit of weaving in to do. We have to do the center and we have to do the side. So we'll just grab our needle and weave those ends in so they're nice and neat. And then we'll add our button and our ribbon. So I've weaved in my ends. It's all nice and tidy. Here's my heart. I decided to use this button here because it has kind of an antique look to it. And since it has a nice big shank on the back and I can get my needle through it, I'm going to sew mine on. And so what I do is I go through a couple of stitches. My shank's going to go sideways, so I want to go sideways. Make sure you check that. I like to just make a loop there. I'll pull this to the back because I'm going to tie it in the back. There we go. Here's my shank on the back of my button. And I'm just going to go through there to the back. And since this is an ornament, I'm not too worried about the button coming off, but I am going to go back through it one more time. All right, then I'll just tie that on to the back. If you're using a button that doesn't have a shank or nice big buttonholes, like I said, you can use this E6000 or your hot glue because it is an ornament. It's not going to go through the laundry. All righty, so we've got 3 knots on there. We'll go ahead. So there is my cute little antique heart on there and my heart. Now I just need to add the ribbon. I'm sticking with my little plaid cotton ribbon, and on this one we're going to go through this chain 2 space in the center. And I like to have a little bit more ribbon than I actually need. That gives me room to tie my knot and trim my ends. So I'm just going to do that little whip through knot. And so this is our Country Heart Christmas ornament that goes along with our country star and our country Christmas tree. Just a hint, the next one we're going to do is a country angel.